On the dot, we are now opening the Planning Commission meeting on Monday, March 31st. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, at this time, we will move on to public comments. Do we have anyone here to address the Planning Commission not related to the public hearing?
What a difference a month makes.
Wait your turn.
Seeing none, I will close public comments. That is the quickest public comments we've had in a month.
Yes.
All right, moving on to agenda item 3, approval of Planning Commission minutes for March 3rd, 2025. Did anyone have any edits or changes to the minutes? Any concerns?
I make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Do we need to do a roll call now?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Vice Chairperson Clark?
Present?
You have to say, so instead of saying, all those in favor say aye.
Okay.
We are now individually, like town council does a roll call, we'll say yay or
Oh,
nay
yay,
or
okay.
abstention.
Okay, yay, sorry.
So you get to set the lead and even tell you what you're doing.
Commissioner Curtis?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Scary?
Aye.
Chairperson Knies?
Aye. And we have enough for action tonight? Okay, quorum, now that we are down a planning commissioner member. How many do we need for action?
4.
As the mayor would say, that's 4-0.
Except that's 5-0, but yeah.
Or 5, sorry, 5-0.
I think everyone voted aye for, and that is why you want to know how to say my last name. I now know your ways. All right, so approval of the Planning Commission minutes passed for March 3rd, 2025. We now move on to, so I don't have the choice to not vote. I feel like the mayor, that's nice, doesn't get to vote, except when he does vote, it's contentious, clearly. So it's like a double-edged sword. All right, move on to item number 4, public hearing. We are here to discuss a conditional use permit request by Shaw Development LLC, applicant and property owner, to allow single-family or two-family dwellings in the General Business District, B3 zoning district, on property located on the western side of Plum Street, across from Trent Drive Northeast, identified as tax parcel 497-2-B, parcel ID 120350, and consisting of approximately 0.776 acres. The property is designated as residential on the future land use map of the 2013 Christiansburg Comprehensive Plan. Before I turn it over to the applicant and anyone here to speak on this, would the town be willing, staff, to give us an overview of this matter?
Good evening, Commissioners. The applicant is seeking approval for a conditional use permit to allow residential use, specifically single-family or two-family dwellings within the General Business District, B3. The proposed development will adhere to the R3 development standards. The property is not located within either the 100 or 500-year flood hazard area. Surrounding uses are commercial and a mix of single-family and two-family residential. There is insufficient information provided to determine the number of units that could potentially be constructed on this property, as the applicant has not provided a preliminary sketch or site plan of the proposed development for review. If this request is approved in accordance with Section 42-623A1 of the Christiansburg Town Code, the applicant will be required to submit a full site plan to the town for review and approval. One potential point of consideration for the Planning Commission is drainage. There is an existing storm drain culvert under Plum Street that discharges on the eastern side of the parcel, along with an existing private drainage channel along the south side of the property. Staff has been made aware that significant amounts of stormwater drain through this property during rain events. Development of this parcel will have to maintain the historical drainage through the parcel. There is not sufficient information provided to determine whether the development would be considered subject to or exempt from state and local stormwater regulations. Planning Commission may wish to consider recommended condition, and this is a typo in your packet. It should read recommended condition number 1, as there's only one recommended condition, requiring compliance with the section from Appendix J of the 2018 International Building Code. This appendix was not adopted in the Virginia Residential Code. And I provided that section J109.4, drainage across property lines, in your packet. It reads, drainage across property lines shall not exceed that which existed prior to grading. Excess or concentrated drainage shall be contained on site or directed to an approved drainage facility. Erosion of the ground in the area of discharge shall be prevented by installation of non-erosive down drains or other devices. That concludes the staff summary. Thank you for your time, and staff will be available for your questions.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Did you say R3?
Yes.
Okay,
So-
not R2, okay.
Yeah, so for residential use in B3 zoning, the town code says that it takes on the R3 development standards. But the applicant is requesting single-family or two-family dwellings, not multifamily.
Thank you.
Okay?
Anyone else here? Would the applicant like to say anything?
In the lot sizes,
Would you go to the microphone?
yeah.
Yeah, thank you, please. Yep.
Kevin Connor with Shaw Development. The reason for, the R3 is the lot sizes are the same, R3, R2, R1, so, but we only, that's how the ordinance is. You have to use the R3 standard, so the 10,000 square foot single family or 12,500 for the duplex. And the lot's only 200 foot wide, so the most we can do is divide it right down the middle, have 2 lots, so that's all we can do, so.
You could have one home or 2 condos? kind of thing?
So if we put a line down the middle of it, we can have 2 single family.
Okay.
I could have a single family and a duplex,
Okay.
or I could have a duplex and a duplex.
Okay, gotcha.
More than likely, I'm gonna put 1 duplex because I'll be less than 10,000 square feet and just help with stormwater, so.
Thank you. And then I would like to make note on the recording that we did receive an email from a resident on Church Street, Craig Arthur. I won't read it into the recording, but just want to make note that it was in opposition to the conditional use permit. So planning commissioners all have a copy of the email in front of them. So when it gets time, if we could all please take a moment to make sure that we have read the concerns that are addressed in the email, I would appreciate that. Anyone else? Yes, please.
For the sake of the audience,
Yep.
could you read that?
Would you like me to read the whole thing?
Or a copy,
Oh, yeah, do you have you mean you want to see it yourself? Do we have another copy, or does it?
I'll print one out.
I'll just give you mine.
Okay. I will summarize the points that are formally opposed to the conditional use permit. The first one is concerns regarding traffic, parking, and infrastructure strain. The second concern is environmental and drainage concerns. The third point is community character and zoning consistency. The next point, which is number 4, if I have not lost track, which I probably have, privacy and security concerns is the final point. And so for these reasons, they strongly urge the planning commission to deny the conditional use permit application, or at the very least require appropriate mitigation such as fencing for it. So, but if the commissioners could read the details, now you have a copy, I believe.
Yes.
So, okay, thank you. Anyone else here to address the commission? Hearing none, I close the public hearing. But I will now open it up for discussion for commissioners. Thoughts, comments, concerns? Anything, especially in the email, that you want to note?
I'd like to hear from the applicant about the drainage concern.
in what regard?
Apparently,
Does this work?
a resident is concerned about it, and also staff had mentioned There's a lot of drainage across the property.
There's a pipe that comes out of. No way I hold it steady. There's a pipe that comes out about right here, and there's a ditch that runs right along the line. And everything would be,
Oh, flow that way, yeah.
so there's no concern.
Other comments or questions from the planning commission?
So pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3112, Section B1, and 2.2-3115, Section H, I'm declaring that I am a member of one of three or more businesses that may be affected by the agenda items as an owner of an electrical and electronic security contractor. I am able to participate in the discussion and voting on this matter fairly, objectively, and in the public interest. So the drainage thing, just so I'm consistent here, and staff, thank you for bringing that forward. But that is an appendix, and as we've had lots of discussion over, that's not part of the, and you did mention that in your staff report, thank you. So don't know that we can really consider that as a condition. And correct me if I'm wrong, aren't there other building codes that have been adopted that don't allow you to add any runoff to any adjacent property? I'm not a drainage expert, so.
That's the only section of building code that I'm aware of that addresses that. And it's my understanding that even though it is not that, so that if that appendix had been adopted by Virginia, it would be in force, right?
Sure.
So it wouldn't even have to be a consideration.
Sure, got you.
But as it was not adopted, it's something that you might want to consider.
Sure, I understand. Yeah, thank you.
Other comments or questions?
Past few meetings, setbacks have been a big topic. Will this be to standard, like 35-foot setbacks?
Yes, whatever the R3, I believe it's 30 or 35, one from the front,
Yeah,
10-foot sides,
Right.
20 or 25-foot rear, no issue there.
pretty much in line with the homes that are on the street there now.
Trent Drive, there's duplexes on Trent, single family on the, Plum, and, it's,
And it's sitting right behind,
Stay that, here, you're the only one in here. so you
sorry,
got-
literally, it's consistent with the
Thank you,
character
I
of the
was
neighborhood that's
listening,
there.
forgot.
so.
And it sits behind the old post office building.
No, the old
Thriftwell or-
Amelia's.
Amelia Thriftwell, yeah, okay.
Slash grocery store, if you
I
know
was like,
that.
when I was back there, I was like, hold on, am I far enough down for Thriftwell or the post office? So I'll be honest, my concern is not your request. My concern is not knowing what you're going to put on it and to make it an R3, given the neighborhood, given the older piping. If I could see a site plan, if I could see what you plan to do, and that we could make an agreement that what is presented to planning commission is what's gonna happen there, I would be more likely to vote yes. At this time, because of some of the concerns that have been raised, I am not in a place where I am willing to vote yes, to just turn it to R3 with the guidance that you're gonna do one, maybe this, maybe that. Do you staff have a thought?
So it would just have to meet the regulations of R3.
Still
Yeah.
be business.
What, right, and, well, and what they're requesting is for a single family or a two-family dwelling. So if that would be approved in that manner, then that would be the only thing that could be done there.
Yeah, I had a similar question. Since their conditional use application is asking specifically for a single family or two family, that's what they're stuck to, okay.
Yes.
But they could do two families, or like as he was saying,
If
he
the
could,
lot
so
allows.
four.
Duplex,
So-
yeah, yeah.
So I mean,
Right.
that'd be four then on, and on that old, piping sewer.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead and grab the microphone for me. I know, just hang on to that, just hang on to it.
It's not my jam.
I know, but it's the recording's jam.
Yeah.
It's also gonna help you when it goes to town council.
So for instance, that's a duplex, 2 units, that's a duplex, 2 units. That could go there.
Yeah.
And that's the most that would happen. And quite honestly, I plan on putting one, because I don't want to have to go over 10,000 square feet, so.
Go over 10,000 square feet for what? For the,
Disturbance.
okay.
Well, and I will remind the commissioners that B3 means a whole lot of other stuff. Okay? So I don't think those neighbors would like a gas station that runs 24 hours a day. So
Yeah, I think
Keep
this
that in
property is
mind.
better served as residential, honestly.
I agree.
So you're saying that if I vote yes to R3, the most that can go there, no apartment complexes, it would be, the most that could go there is 2 duplexes, so 4 dwellings.
Right, you're essentially voting yes for the application rather than R3
Okay.
zoning.
Yes, a CUP, so it won't change to
Yeah.
Yeah,
the rezoning. It'll
Right.
still remain B3
yes.
with the stipulation it will be duplexes or single homes.
That is correct.
Okay.
Now, it could be a 4-story duplex.
Not over 35 feet.
Whoosh. Unless you can go down to the ditch, okay. Other planning commissioner comments or questions? All right. Are folks feeling like they're ready to make a decision this evening? Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the conditional use permit application as is.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Do I have any discussion? Do I have a roll call?
Vice Chairperson Clark,
Aye.
Commissioner Curtis,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Scary,
Aye.
Chairperson Knies.
Aye. With that, it is 5-0.
And is that with the condition?
That is with the condition included. Yes, he's, as is, yes, correct. Thank you,
is,
Claire, for the clarification.
Congratulations.
You move on to
Yeah,
town council.
We might need to redo that, because my motion did not include the condition.
Oh, you did not include the condition.
No, as
As
is,
is, not with the
yeah, as
conditions.
is the application, so. Sorry, I should have been more clear.
Can we go backwards?
Well,
Sure.
does that change the vote for anybody? If the vote is as is, not with the condition included, is that a no for anybody? Or you just want the condition in there?
What if we made a motion to add the condition?
I would support
If
that.
somebody wants to add it, or make that motion.
Who would like to make the motion
I'll
to
make
add the
that
condition?
motion.
Okay, so I have a motion to add the condition that the development shall comply with section J109.4 drainage across property lines of the 2018 International Building Code. Do I have a second to add that condition?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, let's do a roll call again to add that condition.
Vice Chairperson Clark,
Aye.
Commissioner Curtis,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Scary,
No.
I knew that was coming.
Chairperson Knies.
Aye. Okay, with that, it still passes 4-1 with adding the condition. Now, this will go to town council, so if you want to make an argument for not having the condition added, you are welcome to do that at the public town council meeting on Tuesday, April 22nd.
I just think it's, I don't know what the code says,
Yes,
and how
yeah,
it's probably something we do anyway.
yeah, and
I just don't know enough about the details of it.
yes, and I think when you meet with staff to also do the, what was talked about, the site plan or, working through the building code, staff would help clarify that with the applicant, is that correct? They'll help clarify. But you can, if you want to look into it and to see if it's something you're going to do anyways, cool. If you're like, I don't think that's necessary for whatever reason, then you can definitely make your point at town council. Okay. All right. With that, we close action and we'll move on to item 5, other business. You're welcome to hang around to hear what we have to chat about. You're also welcome to head out. So I do want to just note for other business, town council on the Summit Ridge did vote 5-0 in approval of rezoning the land from agriculture to residential. Town council voted 0-5 against the CUP. So there, at this point in time, it is by right if the developer wants to do anything, but they will not be putting the planned housing development there. Is there anything, staff, that you want to say about that?
No, they haven't come back with any plans
Okay.
yet. So.
Related to that, there was an update at that meeting that it sounds like you all were kind and shared some of our concerns with the street committee. So it sounds like the street committee is looking into the traffic study.
Yes.
Is there anything that we can do to partner with that? Should we write something that, like, what our concerns? Oh, did you want to share, please?
Devin has some info for you.
Yes. Okay.
I do have a
And I
bit
know
of
we'll
an
talk about the traffic calming stuff tonight, too.
I do have a bit of an update about the traffic impact analysis. Following the last planning commission meeting, the triggers or determination of need for traffic impact analysis was discussed by the town street committee. Resulting from that discussion, engineering staff has reached out to our continuing transportation services consultant, RK&K, requesting a scope and fee proposal for a regional benchmarking study. The intent is to have our consultant look at our current requirements and compare them to industry standards and neighboring localities.
Is there any way as a part of that, that like a planning commissioner could be a part of the conversations just to share what it's like when we get the information, if that in any way, if it's approved to do a study? Are we allowed to have like a say in that or just talk about the application of it?
So they are doing the study.
Well,
Seeking
it's not confirmed yet because we've asked for a scope and fee proposal.
Okay.
But if that gets approved and signed and agreed upon, then they would be doing the study.
Is the street committee meeting open?
It is.
So
I was gonna
planning
say.
commission can attend it?
Yes, and they are before town council meetings when we schedule to have them, when we have items to discuss.
Yeah, and I will make a comment on that. I did watch council, thank you for your help on explaining it, but they all appeared to have a little deer in the headlights look on that. Now, I'll emphasize a little bit more on it. We brought it up in the past, and it hadn't been addressed, but 114 is the issue that we had talked about. There's apartments, there's the town center, there's the villas, there's the patio homes, and all of these developments that we've approved have all come back to the extent of saying, no, we're looking at the development by itself, not the surrounding areas. That's where the planning commission came up with the idea that we need to go a little bit further on this to the extent that even existing homes need to come into play when we're putting in a development, whether it was the 60 homes that we just turned down or continued development along 114, because it needs to be considered all of the area that flows onto 114. Now, I'm not saying that I support any kind of additional stoplights. You know, we did put in turning lanes. I thought that was great. But just to say that this, it doesn't fit the need for a study, whether it's VDOT or the town, based on the single development, in my opinion, is overlooking a lot. And I think they need to take a look at it, and if I need to explain that in the town council meeting, I'll be happy to come.
So that was part of the discussion with the town's consultant, was looking at different approaches to what is considered to, in that trigger, right? Which is what you're talking about.
Yes.
You need to look at potentially the whole area. They're looking at what is the industry standard or standards for that? What do neighboring localities do? How do they approach it? In addition, what are our options regarding pro rata shares of contributing to these infrastructure needs.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Appreciate the help.
Thank you. While we're talking about traffic, do we want to talk about the traffic calming plan that you all put into the?
Are there any questions that you have about it?
My first question was, have they done the initial programs, and if so, how did they go? Looking at Allegheny, Sleepy Hollow, and Majestic, have those initial programs been implemented?
I thought that they had looked at Majestic and they had found that, and you're talking about speeding through the neighborhoods.
Yeah, well, in the
Yeah.
in the calming thing, it said those were the 3 test ones that they're gonna try.
I thought that they
Well-
had done a study on Majestic and the maximum or average speed was 30 miles an hour and it wasn't an issue.
I know that we have done roadways since I've been here, not those, but additional ones.
Walkway, Chief Ramsey stated that they had done the Majestic multiple times.
Well, there we go. Majestic multiple times. But
I
there's
don't
been
really have
others.
much to add to that. All I was going to say was this, I just wanted to point out that this was adopted in 2012. I know that we've received some petitions from neighborhoods since then. I don't have a history on which streets have actually been studied, but we can find that out for you.
I'd be curious, I mean, the criteria was pretty strict. Like, my street has concerns, and I don't think I ticked all the boxes for, I mean, I appreciated that it talked about what the criteria is. I appreciate it talked about how you could bring up a concern, how you could get an application. I thought it was cool to get signatures from everyone, from a certain percentage on the street. But it was pretty strict criteria, and I felt like that is restrictive to the intent of traffic calming, like mine,
So,
yeah.
I think, and they are very strict on tripping the threshold of whether they're going to do something along the lines of what would have that requirement. However, if there are concerns on some of the streets, and we've done this, there are administrative things that can be done, stop sign and painting lines on the street that makes the road seem more narrow, so people slow down a little. And there are some other items that can be decided upon administratively to go ahead and do without it having to trip that threshold.
Okay.
The other things that are past that are a little bit, I guess, more expensive and extensive.
Yeah.
I think it could
On-
affect fire too.
Yes.
That's a concern.
Yeah, and we've tried to go away from speed bumps because of the winter weather events, trying to plow the streets, and also it's in a neighborhood, you go over it every day, it's probably not great on your vehicle, so.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate just for the knowledge that if we have applicants or coming before conditions to consider, but as far as like awareness of citizens, I did feel like it was a pretty strict, restrictive, and challenging process for community members to take action on. So I don't know that it truly is in the best interest of our community members. That was one of my concerns when I was reading it. As someone who's involved, I was like, this is a lot to do if I'm just trying to figure out as a concerned citizen how to care for the community of the street that I live on. And I don't know if the street committee put it together or who would even talk to, but that was kind of I thought it was cool, but I would be curious to see how many streets actually qualify to hit all of those. So,
Not any since I've been here.
Yeah, and-
And any of the ones that we've done the study for.
and that tells me that it's too restrictive, because there's no way that some of these streets wouldn't benefit from a traffic calming measures.
Well, anecdotally, I don't say this from any knowledge, but I feel like Majestic, if you take it from Independence to 114, there are several unnecessary stop signs that I feel like maybe something was done, but that's just anecdotal, so.
You can speed easily between the two.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Anyone else?
it's
have
pretty
thoughts?
tough, though.
Yeah.
It's-
We got a B6.
So we're in other business? Right.
Yeah, but was there any other stuff on the traffic calming before we move on?
Okay.
Which
Okay.
that,
Yeah, what,
you all, we can have a joint meeting with the street committee if you want to, or a couple of you can discuss and attend one of the meetings and talk about it.
I would say for sure when they do the traffic study component, if that moves forward, I would like some conversation there. If we do that, then that's when I would bring up the traffic calming. I don't know that I feel the need just to meet around the traffic calming, but I would probably bring it in if we had an opportunity to do the traffic impact study.
Would you like me to see if alterations can be made to the traffic calming?
Oh, I would love it to see if that's even a conversation we could have. I would not be opposed to that.
And maybe let us know when the next meeting is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ouch.
What other business do you have, Hill?
I brought this up in an email to Retta and to yourself. Sorry I didn't copy everyone on it, but in Tom's absence and us looking for additional members for the Planning Commission, we used to have a liaison from Town Council. And I'm bringing that up again based on my view of the last video of Town Council, where they seem to be a little not quite aware of what was taking place in Planning Commission. Some of the comments that were made there, I thought might be beneficial to have someone from council right here in our Planning Commission meeting, that they can address some of the concerns or misunderstandings that they may have had. So that was my reason for bringing it up. I think in the past, we've done fine. We've had a good amount of people on the commission that we didn't necessarily need to have that liaison. But again, my comment is coming from Tom leaving us now, us looking for new members, and the fact that there were some points I thought that were missed that were brought up in the Planning Commission that didn't quite make it to Town Council. So, nothing to vote on, nothing I'm just throwing it out there. And after a discussion tonight, I know that people are very busy. Town Council don't need to put more on their shoulders. But if I were to isolate on a specific area, someone from the street committee might be a great addition to the Planning Commission, because we have a lot of questions on street traffic and all that. So that's my 2 cents on that.
That could be a good connection. So I want to have a discussion. In addition to that, can I ask, because it's about membership, what the application status timeline is of bringing people being able to apply to be on the Planning Commission? I think we had talked last time about the application. We might expect that forthcoming. Or is there no application? They just need to email?
There is an application. As far as I'm aware, it's supposed to be going out if it's not already out. And I'm thinking it was discussed to be a month.
If we could beat that, I have not seen that emailed to me. Maybe it did after I left the office, but if you could email that to Planning Commission so we could disperse that. But I think that, I was just curious to know that in addition to
That'd
like
be good,
the
yeah.
timeline of like adding commissioners, potentially
Yep.
adding a council member, would we want to wait and see how many commissioners we
We
get?
could, that's an option too, yep.
What do other folks think about having a town council member? And so, and to Hill's point, we used to have a town council rep. I think town council got really busy and they felt they were informed by the work that we were doing. And so the rep was, removed so they could go serve in other areas.
Yep.
But I don't know, what do other folks think?
And I recall when a couple of council members came to one of our meetings one night, I'm not saying they were doing an audit, but I think they did come here to see how we were working as a group. And I think that the feeling was that we were operating well as a group, and that everyone felt comfortable to voice their points on things, and that the group was not skewed to, one person have all the control. of how we vote. So I don't think we necessarily need anybody, as long as we can add a couple of commissioners. If we find ourselves with just a small group, then maybe we need to do something at least temporarily with council. Kind of my thoughts.
And some of I can't say all town council, but quite a few of at least the town councils will speak in the meetings that they have watched our recordings. I think because now we record, it does at least give them the opportunity to watch if there is a highly informational one or two meetings, that they can at least take those in prior to our time. So it sounds like what we'll do is we'll kind of see maybe how applications go, see what interest we
great.
get, and then we can circle back to having a town council member. And who knows, maybe in the meantime, maybe a town council member will watch us and tell us that they're interested, especially if they are in any way related to the street committee. What other business do you folks have?
We have the meeting in 2 weeks, right? The regional meeting in a couple.
Yes,
The April 16th.
The training,
April 16th.
yeah. Yeah. Has everybody responded to you?
I'm just waiting for Jennifer.
Okay. Yeah, I've gone the last 3-4 years, and it's very good. And you do play roles or role plays, sorry. And it's really good.
I'm interested. April 16th is just a tough day for folks in the River Valley. So I understand probably the calendar is complicated, but I'm not usually in too much of an emotional space to spend time with, other than mandated. So I'm interested, but I'm probably going to RSVP no for my own well-being that day. But I do look forward to going one day, because I hear it's a lot of fun. So
Yeah, I will not be in town. I'll be pretty much in Florida for work, so.
for work, he says. Let's see him
Florida.
sunbathing.
No, cement plant, it's gonna be dirty, so.
When's our next subcommittee meeting, or do we have another one scheduled?
April 28th.
April 28th. Do we have a plan commission meeting scheduled for that night too, or no?
Yes, you do.
I don't like the way you said that. Is there a lot on the docket?
And there's going to be a code amendment, and we have 2 CUPs and 1 rezoning.
Okay, and is that our next meeting?
Yes, since you took action tonight.
Okay, so April 28th is our next plan commission meeting, and we'll have a subcommittee meeting.
At 5:30, and I'll send an email to remind you guys.
Perfect. I think y'all actually covered all of my other business notes. Staff, is there any other business that we haven't covered? Commissioners, any other business?
I would just like to thank you. This is your first official meeting that we're out of here.
I will say, I'm pretty sure that there were some times when you weren't here that I had meetings in like 7 minutes or like 9 minutes or something. And then I went from that to like 2.5 hours.
Yes.
I would not be upset to get
So
home to kiss my kids
congratulations.
goodnight.
Good intro.
All right, with that, the meeting is adjourned. Thanks, commissioners. Thank you, staff, so much. I really appreciate it.